muy buenos días a todos. Pues antes que nada, gracias por acompañarnos a otro webinar de la serie de webinars que estamos haciendo de Audacia y Jóvenes de Excelencia. Yo soy Erika Alfaro, estoy en Audacia en el equipo Jóvenes de Excelencia y pues les damos la más cordial bienvenida. Me da mucho gusto compartirles que hoy está con nosotros Liliana Santana del equipo de Jóvenes de Excelencia. Lili, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Gracias, Eri. Buenos días. Espero que todos me escuchan muy bien. Pues muy contenta de poder compartir con todos ustedes información acerca de la oferta en Canadá. Canadá es un país extraordinario que nos ofrece muchísimas cosas muy buenas y en esta ocasión, pues Waterloo y la Universidad de Alberta nos van a acompañar con mucha información. Esperamos que todos puedan aprovechar el hacer preguntas sobre programas, preguntas sobre becas, preguntas sobre estilo de vida, que estoy segura que nuestros amigos de estas universidades nos van a poder responder. Muchas gracias, Eri, y pues adelante, bienvenidos.
Gracias, Lili. Así es, aprovechen para hacer todas sus preguntas. Hoy les comparto que, bueno, como ya en otras ocasiones hemos tenido universidades de Canadá, Caldo, que nos está apoyando, pues ahora sí que también con estos webinars, pues es un consorcio precisamente de 10 universidades canadienses, pues de las que están dentro de las pues mejor ranqueadas, ¿no? Que ofrecen pues grandes oportunidades y precisamente ofrece guía a candidatos para encontrar pues ahora sí que los programas más adecuados. Hoy les comparto que tenemos, pues como bien comentaba Lili, dos universidades. Tenemos la Universidad de Waterloo y la Universidad de Alberta. Entonces, les pido que conforme vayan haciendo sus preguntas, pueden hacerlas vía chat. Si pueden especificar si va dirigida a alguna de las dos universidades, nos ayudaría mucho para poder pues, dar una respuesta adecuada. O bien, si no especifican la universidad, podremos dar por entendido que es para ambas. Entonces, daremos inicio primero con la Universidad de Waterloo, para después continuar con la Universidad de Alberta. De cualquier manera, al final del webinar podremos abrir los micrófonos para que puedan hacer alguna pregunta pues mucho más directa. Entonces, vamos ahora sí que cambiar el switch a inglés para poder darles la bienvenida. I want to welcome you, Julie Macmillan. She is the manager of graduate admissions with graduate studies and postdoctoral affairs at the University of Waterloo. Julie has been with GSPA for over 10 years and is always on the lookout for ways to improve current business process and make things better for prospective students. One of the best parts of her job is working with prospective students and applicants who are interested in studying at Waterloo. With over 14,000 applicants applying to grad programs last year, Julie is proud to be a part of the project team that is rolling out a new application system for graduate programs. Julie is an avid lover of Harry Potter, as I'm sure of many of our participants today, as well as I am a fan, and may have read the books a few too many times. Julie, it's so nice to have you here. Thank you for sharing this space with us today.
Thank you so much, Erica. It's great to be here. I'm just going to start sharing my screen here, make sure we have the right thing up for everyone. And in the essence of, unfortunately, since about March 16th, when the COVID crisis hit, we have been working from home. So I'm here today in my home. So I think what I might do for the sake of audio quality is I'll turn off my video just during the presentation. It isn't the best here at home, and I'm just concerned about some lagging and maybe you missing some of the important stuff that I have to say today. But that doesn't mean that I'm happy to turn it back on later during question and answers and be able to chat with people so that you can see me as well. So I'll just turn off my video for the moment, and then we'll get started. So again, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy to be able to give a little presentation about grad studies at Waterloo. So Where is Waterloo? So the University of Waterloo is located in southwestern Ontario, in the city of Waterloo, appropriately, and we're approximately 1.5 hours outside of the city of Toronto. So when we say 1.5 hours, I think what we really mean is 2 hours. So traffic is a bit busy getting in and out of Toronto, but it's an easy day trip to make. If you're more adventurous, you can actually get to Ottawa or Montreal or Quebec City and do that probably in a weekend. So the University of Waterloo has earned a reputation as Canada's Innovation University. We were founded in 1957 with a class of 74 engineering students, and since then we have become a magnet for talented and enterprising students and faculty across a broad range of disciplines. So currently we have about 5,800 graduate students enrolled, and 40% of those graduate students are international, and that's something that we're very proud of as an institution. A little bit about the City of Waterloo. So Waterloo Region is a community focused on students. It is home to about 500,000 people. It's definitely a student-friendly city, being home to 2 universities and 1 college. So that would be ourselves, Waterloo, Wilfrid Laurier University, and Conestoga College. In pre-COVID times, we had some great festivals that would take place. We're home to Oktoberfest, which is North America's largest Bavarian festival. And we also have the world's largest maple syrup festival, which is in Elmira. This is our Student Life Center. This is basically a space for students to use. There's rooms you can book out, there's a food court, there's stuff in the lower levels that would be like groceries, tech, Rogers, there's a used bookstore, lots of great hangout space. There's a huge open area where we do a lot of events with our students. We would have different fairs and such going on. Right now, the space is actually undergoing renovations to expand and enhance both the space and the resources that are available to our students. Waterloo's academic advantage. So there's a lot that you will benefit from as a Waterloo student. We have our creator-owned intellectual property, which really is that you made it, you own it. IP policy. So it's at the core of entrepreneurship really is intellectual property rights, and our policy number 73, which is also called creator owned, grants ownership to the inventor. And so it's really the engine for driving commercialization success of different research-based innovations. And we believe it's the most entrepreneurial oriented IP policy in North America. Other things that are great would be our leadership in experiential learning and connections to industry. So by experiential learning, we're really talking about the different co-op opportunities. That's where you'd be able to take a work term. We have different programs that have practicums, internships, and other connections to industry. We have a number of very innovative online grad programs. We have a global reputation for our academic excellence, definitely have award-winning faculty members, research chairs, and industry leaders, as well as our graduate skills, professional skills program. So we're very proud of Dr. Donna Strickland, who won the 2018 Nobel Prize in Physics and was only the 3rd woman in history to do so. So Dr. Strickland won for her breakthrough work on chirped pulse amplification in lasers, which helped develop technology such as eye surgery, laser printers, and the scanners that you would see in retail stores. Some of our facts and rankings. So Maclean's, which is a Canadian-based ranking service, for the 2021 has called Waterloo #1 for computer science, in engineering and math, #1 in Canada for hands-on experiential learning, #2 for most innovative, and #3 for best overall university in Canada. The QS World Rankings have us at 163rd globally. We're 24th in the world for computer science. This is one of the things that we're known for. 32nd in the world for hospitality and leisure management studies, and we're in the top 100 for environmental studies. Something that we're very proud of is our graduate professional skills. And so we have, as you see here, we have a number of things that are on the go for our grad students. Something that's a little on the newer side is our professional skills foundation. And essentially this is designed to offer master's and doctoral students a broad exposure to and experience in 4 key skill areas. So career prep, communication, leadership, and personal effectiveness. This is something that our students told us they wanted to see, and so we were really happy to be able to roll that out last year. A few other things that we have on the go is a 3-minute thesis. That's a lot of fun. It's essentially one static slide, and you have 3 minutes to be able to explain the breadth and significance of your research. We also have Grad Venture, which are a central hub of professional development resources designed specifically for grad students, and it's offered through GSPA, which is my office, in collaboration with our campus partners. Another newer addition to the family is the GradFlix Showcase, which is essentially where our grad students would create a video, a moving slideshow, or animation of no longer than 60 seconds to describe their research. And then we also have Grad Talks, where we have 2 doctoral students exploring one research theme from interdisciplinary perspectives. Some of our past topics have included climate change, artificial intelligence, healthy aging, drinking water, and social networks. So just to move on to our programs that are offered, we do have over 180 programs. They are offered across 6 faculties, our 3 satellite campuses, and our 4 affiliated and federated institutions of Waterloo. And for example, arts or social sciences and the humanity houses a number of programs. We have psychology. That's a big one here at Waterloo. And again, mathematics is computer science. Engineering is also very well known. Some fun facts are that we have the largest faculty of engineering in Canada, the largest actuarial science program in North America. We have the #1 psychology department in Canada based on citations, and we are the world's first kinesiology department. We also have Canada's only English language optometric training at our School of Optometry and Vision Science. So those are just some neat things. This is actually the School of Pharmacy, which is the first new pharmacy school in Canada in about 20 years, and it's housed in a state-of-the-art education and research building on the Health Sciences campus in downtown Kitchener. So I just think this is neat. So the pictures that you can see here of the flowers or the plant life, I think all ties back to different plants used in medicine. So that's just kind of neat. So I know you're all wondering what it takes to get into Waterloo. So what I have here is a slide which shows admission equivalencies by country. And so this is basically the qualification required as well as the minimum overall standing. So the University of Waterloo has university level admission requirements. And at the master's level, we're asking that you would have at least a 75% overall standing in a 4-year honors bachelor's degree or equivalent. At the doctoral level, you're to have at least 75% overall standing or equivalent in your previous degree, and also be able to demonstrate other superior qualifications, such as advanced research ability. Now, that being said, those are the university minimums. What you'll find is that most programs will set higher requirements. So what I find is that most of our master's programs are looking between a 75 and 78% admission requirement, and the doctoral or PhD programs are looking about 80% or higher. English language proficiency requirements. What I've included on this slide is our 2 most common ELP test scores, which are TOEFL and IELTS, as well as our own English for Academic Success program. So what you'll find is that the English language proficiency scores fall into these 3 different categories, but we've actually created program pages for all of the 180 plus programs. And within that program page, you will see the admission requirements, as well as the application deadlines, as well as the English language proficiency requirements, if GMAT or GRE is required. And that will just sort of give you that overall robust one-stop shopping, able to look at what that program requirements are. They also include a program contact. So as I'm speaking to you from the very high level of the grad studies and postdoctoral affairs, it then moves down to our faculties and then to our programs. So obviously, the people who are the experts in their programs will be those of them at the department. So just back to a little bit more on ELP. It's really important to know that we have these 3 levels. So we have our standard scores, our alternative lower, and our alternative higher. For those programs that accept the alternative lower, they would be within the Faculty of Engineering, and it's all departments except the School of Architecture and the Department of Management Sciences. You actually have to meet these scores. So this is the lowest that Waterloo will accept. So we're lucky that we have a great English for multilingual speakers course, or EMLS course, that you can take. And if you were to be 1 or 2 points below the required score, the program would have the opportunity to say, this is a great candidate, we still want to admit them. We're going to have them take the EMLS course that is specific to writing to allow them to improve during the first 2 terms of their program. If we're looking at the alternative lower scores, you will not have that opportunity. It's also important to note that some of our programs do ask that you meet their English language scores, and they have noted that as such on the program page. So one program that comes to mind is in the School of Public Health and Health Systems, and they are saying to us, we want our students to meet this score, and if they don't, that will be a deal breaker for us. So again, very important that you take a look at the various program pages. Some additional requirements might be the GRE, the GMAT, depending on the programs that you're going into. These will also be listed on the program pages. References, definitely required for all programs, transcripts. The supplementary information form, or the SIF, is essentially a set of questions that the program has put together for you to answer. And this just gives them a better sense of whether or not you'll be a great fit. If they're looking for specific courses that you have to have taken, they may ask you that in this point. It just lets them know if you've met all the requirements as well. You may or may not have to include a research proposal, resume, or writing sample. This will all be noted at the time that you go in to upload your documents. The only thing that we don't have listed here is the portfolio. And so we do have two programs, architecture and fine arts, that would require a portfolio to be uploaded as well. And then supervisors are an important part of the research-based master's and doctoral programs, but they're not required for our professional coursework, or our professional online programs. So I think what you'll find is that some programs, again, will ask that you have a supervisor lined up ahead of time. One department that comes to mind is our Department of Biology and the Faculty of Science, and they want you to have made the connection with prospective faculty and supervisors to be able to identify on your application that that person has already said yes. Not every program is the same way. Some programs are happy to have you indicate people that you thought would be a good match, and so you can indicate on your application up to 3 people who you think would be a good fit. I think it's harder for our programs when no one is indicated as a possible match or a possible interest. It just means then that they have to spend more time determining if there are any faculty members who might meet the research area that you've indicated. So I always encourage students to at least do a little bit of research, visit the department website, the faculty listing pages. Based on the faculty member's area of research, as well as any current projects that they have on the go, you can sort of develop a short list. And then you can also consider research interests as well as teaching styles, and just try to determine a good match. And from there, then, when you're completing your application, you would be able to include that information. So I do have a link here. It just takes you to find your supervisor on our GSPA Future Students page, and that just gives you a bunch of additional tips that you'll find useful. The application process itself is very straightforward. So you simply apply online. Right now our application is housed through the Ontario University Application Centre, so it's a third-party application. So you go to their site, you fill out the application, you're telling us all about you. This is where you would enter your reference information, your history of work history, your academic history, the program you're interested in, all of that. You would hit submit, pay your $125 application fee, and then daily we download from UAC data on all of the students who have submitted an application the day before. So once we have that information, we will send you an email, and it will basically give you instructions for claiming your identity, which is just your user ID and password, and that would allow you to access Quest. And Quest is our student information system, and that's where you'd be doing all of your uploading of documents, which as you see is step 3. This is where you'd upload your transcripts, degree certificates, you'd complete the supplementary information form questions, and then you'd be able to upload any of the additional documents or test scores. This is also where you'll be able to go back and track sort of the application status. And then once your application is complete, the academic unit reviews your file for admission. And then what I know people are always interested in is how the application is reviewed. So we are sort of a decentralized model. So that means that while I can see the applications as they come in, I am not the first stop on the application train. So it's our department, school, or center that would review your application first. So this is why when we talk about the application program pages and reaching out to the program directly if you have questions, this is why that makes most sense. So they are going to review your application, make sure it's complete, make sure that you meet their admission requirements, and then they would forward it on to the faculty. So at the faculty level, we have another check in place, and the faculty for that program would review it, and then once approved, moves forward to us here in Grad Studies and Postdoctoral Affairs, and then my admissions team does a final review of the application, verifying admissibility, and then we actually issue the official offer of admission. And that is available normally within 24 hours of the decision load in your Quest account as well. So that's where you would be able to go in, see that decision has been applied, and view your official letter. And that's really quite a simple process. Now, as we know, we went online in March of this year due to COVID. So our winter term was completed remotely, and then again, our spring 2020 term was also conducted remotely. In fall, as we were able to follow public health guidelines, we were able to resume some campus activities on a gradual basis. What you'll find is that most of our courses are still being offered online. Some courses and supports may be offered in person. I know at the grad level, we really tried hard to prioritize graduate research programs where course sizes would tend to be small and they would more easily accommodate the public health requirements. So that's happening. Some of our labs were able to open to get grad students in. Again, we are all following public health guidelines. We have confirmed the winter term will also be delivered very similarly to fall, so remote delivery with some on-campus activities. This is a very fluid situation though, and so really we're just having to pivot on the go based on whatever public health guidelines come out. So I can't even speak to what fall 21 might look like, and I'm not sure yet what will happen in the spring. But we do post all of this information at uwaterloo.ca/coronavirus, and that is really going to be the most up-to-date information. And that's about it for me. So I thank you very much, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so we can give it back to Erica.
Thank you very much, Julie, for all the information you shared with us. I think this well, all the things you told us about the grad flicks, the grad talks, well, it's sure very interesting. Thank you so much. So if anyone have questions, please, you can write them in the chat. And now we are going to welcome the University of Alberta. Today, Nicole Duarte is here with us. Let me present her. She is the Senior Coordinator of the Sponsored Student Program at the University of Alberta, providing services to international students who have scholarships from their home countries. Nicole has been assisting sponsored students for the past 7 years, advising them from the time they first express an interest in studying at University of Alberta, and continues providing support throughout their degree programs up until graduation. She has experience living, studying, and working abroad in places like Ghana and South Korea, and understands the unique needs of international students. Nicole completed her Bachelor of Education at the University of Alberta, as well as a Master's in Cultural and International Education. Nicole, I'm very glad to have you here. Thank you so much for this time. And well, all the microphones on you. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Erica. Thanks for having me today, and thanks everyone for joining. Similar to Julie, I'll just, in terms of connection and everything, I'll just stop my video for now and just go to the presentation, and then we'll go to Q&A after. Just 1 second, please. Okay, so a little bit about the University of Alberta. So we are located on the other side of Canada. So we are in the city of Edmonton in the province of Alberta. So Alberta is part of the Prairie provinces. You can see, Calgary is also in Alberta. We're closer to the Vancouver side of Canada, but don't let the map fool you. Vancouver is about a 1.5 hour flight from Edmonton, or a 12-hour drive because you're going to be going through the Rocky Mountains in Alberta. So a little bit about Edmonton. So we are Alberta's capital city. So it is a government center of the province. We have a population of about 1 million people. We are one of Canada's youngest and fastest growing cities. We're a major economic hub with a clean, safe environment and a lower cost of living, especially in comparison to some of the larger cities in Canada like Toronto and Vancouver. We're also known as Canada's festival city, so we have events all year round, except in this unique time of COVID-19. Everything is kind of on hold right now. But we do have the largest urban park space in North America, which is great for cycling, hiking, skiing, snowshoeing, and it's right next to campus, which is very convenient and good in a time like right now when it's good to get outside more. So the province of Alberta has a population of about 4 million people. We are Canada's top energy producer, which is why Alberta is home to a Future Energy Systems Unit with over 75 million in funding for research in energy. We have a beautiful natural environment. It's a very diverse province in terms of landscapes, and we're lucky to have the Rocky Mountains in Alberta, which is about a 3.5 drive away from Edmonton, and we have 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, so we're very lucky here. So a little bit about the University of Alberta itself. We are ranked number 81 in the world for research impact and number 4 in Canada. Our researchers are at the forefront of advancing knowledge in a variety of areas, including more recently a number of studies related to COVID-19. We have over 40,000 students from 156 different countries. Over 7,000 of those students are international students. And within that, our graduate student population, similar to Waterloo, 40% are international students. So you'll be studying with students and professors from not only Canada, but around the world. Another thing we're very proud about, we're number 2 in Canada for graduate employment. So our graduates are some of the most qualified and sought after by employers within Canada. So in terms of programs that we offer, we have 15 different faculties that offer master's and PhD programs. As you can see, we have a wide variety of research areas from STEM, social sciences, humanities, business. I'm just going to highlight just a few of the bigger faculties for you today and would just encourage you to check out any others on our website. So the first one is the Faculty of Engineering. So we have a number of different specializations like biomedical, chemical, civil, computer, electrical, mechanical. We have a unique engineering management program. And a lot of these specializations fall under research areas where they do collaboration together in areas like nanotechnology and nanoscience, system modeling, information communication, materials and structures, and resource management. Our mining engineering program is ranked number 18 in the world, and we also have Canada's largest and oldest petroleum engineering program, which is ranked number 5 in the world. Our Faculty of Science has 7 different departments. In addition to the areas listed here, like the main departments, we also offer a number of specialized master's programs in areas like integrated petroleum geosciences, multimedia, statistical machine learning, and we also have an urban and regional planning program within this faculty as well. Our research in geology is ranked number 5 in the world, and our programs in artificial intelligence and paleontology are within the top 3 worldwide. Our Faculty of Agricultural, Life and Environmental Sciences has a wide variety of research areas related to life sciences in general. So nutrition and food science, agriculture, renewable resources. We're ranked number 5 in the world for forestry programs. Our program in resource economics and environmental sociology is very unique. And we also have other smaller research areas in this faculty like textiles, family studies, aging. And we also have a number of opportunities to do dual degrees with our School of Business. So we have students who have done a dual degree with a Master's of Agriculture along with an MBA or a Master's and forestry with an MBA. So a lot of really unique study opportunities in this faculty. Our School of Business, Maclean's ranked us number 4 in Canada this year, and we're ranked within the top 100 in the world. We have some very unique specializations within our MBA program, like energy finance, innovation and entrepreneurship, public sector and healthcare management, strategy and consulting, and real estate. The MBA program offers a number of internship opportunities for all of their students, and our School of Business has a number of centers and institutes that are dedicated to excellence and building connections to the business community. So for example, we have the School of Retailing based on campus, and Canada's Centre for Corporate Responsibility. Our Faculty of Medicine Dentistry is one of our largest faculties on campus. We have some of the most modern and well-equipped facilities in Canada, and over 20 different departments and 15 centers and institutes that offer graduate programs and research. We have internationally renowned research in areas like diabetes, neuroscience, virology, and actually we're very proud to have a professor, Dr. Michael Houghton, who just won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology for his work with the hepatitis C virus. Cardiovascular research, we have a huge cardiovascular research center on campus, and we're ranked number 6 in the world for transplantation research. So like I said, that's just a highlight of some of the bigger programs. If we didn't cover the one that you're interested in, I encourage you to go to our website to learn a bit more about your research area and connections to Alberta and what some of our professors are doing in your research area. So a little bit about the facilities on campus. We are home to the National Institute for Nanotechnology, and our NanoFab Lab, it's a $52 million facility with state-of-the-art tech, and it's the largest facility of its kind in Canada. We also have Canada's second largest library collection. So you'd have access to over 1,700 different databases for your research. We have a teaching hospital on campus, over 400 different research labs. The photo here is of our Tim Centre for the Arts, which is Canada's best theatre training facility. We also have a botanic garden just on the outskirts of the city, and we have an additional campus in South Edmonton that is specific for research in agriculture and animal science. So there's a lot of different facilities for those researchers. In terms of housing options, there are plenty on-campus housing options for students. We have housing that's specific to graduate students as well. There's a wide variety of choices, whether you want to live by yourself or whether you want to share with a roommate. There's also meal plans available as well, if that interests you. And as long as you apply before April 30th, you are guaranteed an on-campus housing space. So some other services and supports that we offer our students, the Student Success Center. This is to provide some academic supports, workshops on things like how to write a literature review or how to write a thesis proposal, or maybe you're preparing for a conference. They can kind of help you with some supports to prepare you with that presentation. Our Center for Writers, this is an opportunity to connect you with tutors in your area who can kind of review your writing for you, give you some tips, some advice on how to improve it. And that's a free service for all students on campus. We have our health center, pharmacy on campus. We have counseling services, and recreation facilities as well. So with your student ID card, you have free access to all the facilities, gyms, swimming pools, skating rink, climbing wall, racquetball courts. There's lots available to you as a student here. We also have an International Student Services Center. So they have specialized advisors specifically, addressing the needs of international students. So we have official immigration advisors. They provide a specialized orientation for international students at the start of each semester. They offer an English conversation club. And we also have over 450 different student groups. So it doesn't matter what your interests or hobbies are, you're likely to find a student with similar interests. So in terms of work opportunities, we do have a number of career centers on campus to support students and graduates. And some are very faculty specific. So our Faculty of Engineering has their own employment center with their connections to private industry and business. There are opportunities to work on and off campus. As a student with a study permit, you can work up to 20 hours per week during your studies. There are a number of research and teaching assistantship opportunities that you can apply for, whether it's with your supervising professor or another one with your department. So that gives you some valuable work experience, but then also helps with the cost of tuition as well. And all graduate students are required to complete a professional development component to their degree. So this includes an individualized career development plan. And then our Faculty of Graduate Studies provides a number of opportunities like conferences and workshops, guest speakers and lecturers to kind of help you build in that professional development plan. So in terms of the types of degrees we offer, I'll just kind of quickly review the differences in our master's degrees. There's two different types, basically. There's the thesis-based master's degree, which will start off with some coursework in your first year. Usually this coursework is meant to kind of prepare you for your future research. And then you move on to your thesis and research. So normally most thesis-based graduate degrees take about 2.5 years to complete. We also offer course-based masters. So those are more professional, meant in terms of gaining employment opportunities in that field after. So it's all coursework throughout your program with just a final project at the end. So not as big and detailed as a thesis. And normally most course-based masters can be completed within 1 to 1.5 years. For a master's degree, normally a bachelor's degree in that field of study is required. For our doctoral degrees, same type of thing. Your first year is usually dedicated to coursework that's going to be related to your research area before moving on to your research candidacy and defense. So normally a PhD can be anywhere between 4 to 6 years. It really depends on how your research progresses and if everything goes according to plan. Normally we do require a master's degree in that area for entry. It kind of depends on your experience and your grades and what else you bring to the table. I'll just kind of go over admission requirements. Similar to what Julie was stating for Waterloo, these are kind of just a general overview of the minimum requirements, but I'd encourage you to check the department that you want to apply to, because some will have higher requirements than this. We typically want to see a GPA of 3 out of 4 or 8 out of 10 during your last 2 years of full-time studies. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And for the English, we are looking for an IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 90. And then there are some departments that might ask for additional requirements as well, which I'll get into a bit later. So typical required documents when you apply. So things we ask to see are your CV, your university transcripts and degree certificates, so the original language and English translation, your English test score, a statement of research interest, which is, it's basically a 1 to 2 page document explaining your background, what you want to research for your program. You know, you can target a specific professor in the statement, so why you want to work with that professor, what about their research and experience interests you, and why you think you would be a good fit for that program. We also usually typically want to see 3 references. And as Julie was saying, most research-based programs, we'd want to ensure you have confirmation from a professor here that they are interested in supervising your potential program with us. That's pretty standard for research, but not for course-based masters. And some departments do have additional requirements. So for example, business will ask for a GMAT or GRE score. Some programs like psychology and economics will also want to see a GRE, but it's a very small number of departments that ask for this. And if you're wanting to do a program that's very heavy in terms of writing, like English literature or modern language and cultural studies, some of those programs might ask to see a writing sample as well. So a little bit about the sponsored student program, because this is the program I work with. So as Erica was saying, it's for students who have scholarships from their home countries. So we're a pretty unique program in Canada. We have dedicated staff that are providing services and support to sponsored students to make sure that you're successful. You know, this is something that we want to make sure happens as well as your sponsors as well. They want to stay up to date on how you're doing. So if you're applying for a scholarship from Mexico, like CONACYT or EduCAFIN, we can help you through the process of finding a supervising professor, help you with your application process, just because we have various agreements with these sponsors. So it's good that I can kind of give an overview of this to professors if they're going to be considering you're supervising your program with us. So with that, I'd encourage you to contact me at uaissp@ualberta.ca if you require any additional information or have any questions. But with that, I will turn it back over to Erica for the Q&A section.
Nicole, thank you so much for all this wonderful information. This sponsored student program, I think it's really great to help the students to achieve their goals. No, and well, all the details you gave us about the programs and the requirements is one of the things that we encourage all our students to be very specific about. And thank you also for the information of your email, so anyone can contact you. Well, before we start with the Q&A, I would like to invite all of the participants. We are going to, well, as you know, in Jóvenes de Excelencia, one of the best things is that, well, we encourage you to find your best program. So we are going to have 2 virtual fairs. One is the Access MBA, as it says, is sold for MBAs and business programs. And it's going to be this October 17. And we're also going to have Access Masters. It's it's for all the other masters, not in business, and it's going to be on October the 19th. We already send you by chat all the information. If you want to participate, that would be great to open up all your programs and your possibilities. Well, I would like to start with the Q&A section. So if anyone want to open their microphones, they are free to do that and ask specifically the question.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
So I would like to know about the scholarship for international students for both universities. So, I heard that you can find a sponsor like in Mexico, but what about the university itself?
So I'm happy to, you go ahead, Nicole.
No, go ahead.
I'm happy to talk a little bit. So basically, Waterloo does have a number of international sponsorships that it takes part in, and we do list them on our website. If you're looking at what funding is available when applying just to Waterloo, we do have minimum funding in place for our doctoral programs. So right now, the minimum funding per year is about just over $24,000 a year. And if you're coming in as an international student, there's an additional what we call International Doctoral Student Award, which is used to offset the cost of tuition, so that basically brings your tuition back to what would be domestic rate. And so that's about $14,000 a year. So that is guaranteed to you at the PhD level. Depending on what you're going into, some programs and some faculty members obviously have their own funding. They have applied for grants. They will then use that to support their students. So really, it's difficult for me to say for sure what your amounts would look like, but there's that minimum, and that minimum funding has to be in place at the PhD level. For the master's programs, we have some guidelines in place, and some of our faculties have gone ahead and set their own guidelines as well. So for instance, I think we're suggesting 12,000 is the minimum guideline for master's programs. Typically, this would be a research program. Our coursework and professional programs don't have any of the funding available. And then again, we have the International Masters Award of Excellence, which is given out to our incoming international master students, and that's determined at the program or faculty level. So.
Yeah, pretty similar with the University of Alberta. If you're coming to do a research-based master's or a PhD program, if you're admitted, usually you have to be admitted first before you find out exactly how much funding you're going to receive. It's a little bit different than universities in the States. But all of our students who are admitted to research-based programs, you will receive at least, the very minimum is 20,000 Canadian. It kind of, like Julie said, it varies depending on the department, faculty. Some have higher funding policies than others. It depends how much funding they're receiving for their research. So it's good to check the website of the specific department that you want to apply to, just to see what their funding policies are. And some professors, might also have, like I mentioned in my presentation, you might have, part of that funding might include working as a research assistant or teaching assistant. So that would kind of be additional funding as well to go towards the tuition cost. In terms of course-based masters, there isn't much funding available. There might be some small partial scholarships available on a competitive basis. For example, I know our School of Business, for MBA students, there are some scholarships available. These wouldn't be full scholarships though, just partial. So again, it's good to check the website of the department that you'd like to apply to, just to see what their specific funding.
Thank you, Nicole and Julie, for your responses. Nicole, we have another question from Abad. What's the market sheet? It is known in Mexico as Historial Académico. Yes, it's right. And the other question is, I need help with my application to the music composition master. May I send my 3 compositions in MP3 or a link to watch instead of a PDF score?
Okay, I'm going to have to check with the department about this specifically. So Abed, it might be good if you email me directly about this, and then I can follow up with you. I'll just put my email address in the chat here.
Thank you very much, Nicole. If anyone has another question.
Good morning from Mexico. I have a question for University of Alberta. Yeah, the question is, I'm very interested to apply a master's degree program mainly in chemical and materials engineering. And the question is, I think that I can fit in some research area. So the question is, do I have to contact to a supervisor prior to apply a master's degree?
For the University of Alberta, our Department of Chemical and Materials Engineering is one of the outliers. They are one of the few departments that doesn't require students to find a supervising professor before. So for Chemical Materials Engineering, as long, check to make sure that you meet all their minimum admission requirements first, because that's what they're going to look for when they review your application. And then submit your online application. They will review it to determine if you're a competitive applicant. If so, they will let you know when you can proceed to the next step of contacting professors. So normally I would say for all other research programs, you should find a supervisor first, but this is the one program on our campus that doesn't require that.
And the other question is, I know that this department offer or guarantee the scholarship to a student. So the question is, do these is enough to live there?
Yeah, so typically when you're made a funding offer, they want to make sure it's enough that it's going to cover your tuition and provide you with a monthly living stipend to cover your expenses. So like I said, like chemical materials engineering is quite good, but for other students, it's good to check the department website to see if you feel like it would be enough. It kind of depends on your what your typical cost of living expenses are. If you're living by yourself, it's going to be a bit more expensive. If you eat out a lot, you're going to be spending a bit more money. So it kind of depends on your individual situation as well. But the funding offers that they make are meant to be able for you to pay your tuition and living expenses as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have another question. From Ana Rodriguez. Thank you very much, Ana. Is there a specific format to follow for the references?
At Waterloo, we have an online reference form. So when you complete the online application, you're entering your referee's information, so their name, institution that they work at, or industry position if it's professional, and their email address. So once we've downloaded that into our system, we will actually send them an electronic link. So each of our references are completed using the same electronic form, so that there's equitability when they're being.
And it works the same with the University of Alberta too. So when you submit your online application, you're going to enter the name and email address of your references, and then they will be sent a link to a form that they will then complete and send back to us.
Okay, great, thank you. Anya Miranda is asking if, as a student in biology, she can apply to any program in medicine.
It depends. It depends on what type of coursework you did in your degree, how it would apply to whatever research you want to do within medicine. So I have seen it happen before. It's good to check the faculty of medicine and the departments to kind of narrow down specifically what you'd like to research, and then reach out to professors and get their feedback and their opinion on whether they feel like you have enough background and experience to be able to be successful in a graduate program.
Waterloo doesn't have a medical program, so I don't think we need the answer.
Thank you, Julie. Well, we have another question from Areli Medina. I understand the situations toward the pandemic and the uncertainty about it, but I would like to know if there's likely that the fall 2021 semester will be delivered online.
There's really no way for us to be able to answer that yet. We are following public health guidelines, and we're not going to be able to open campus until they give us the go-ahead. So we've been able to do a little bit over the fall term in terms of labs being open, buildings being open, and some of our graduate research students being able to be back on campus. But we're really just taking it day by day, and as soon as we are given the go-ahead, we will let you know, and we will be glad to be able to let you know that the campus is open.
Yeah, and quite similarly, the University of Alberta has been primarily online. Most courses are online. Some graduate students and researchers have been able to return to campus to conduct their research, but winter 2021 is definitely going to primarily remain online, and we right now have no way of knowing what it's going to be beyond that. So we're just kind of waiting and assessing the situation as things kind of develop.
Yes, I think we are all praying to have a COVID vaccine released as soon as possible in order to be normal again. Okay, we have another question from Rodrigo Lecanda. If I don't get my degree certificate by the application deadline, which are my options for fall 2021?
From Waterloo's perspective, we understand that when you're applying, you may have a program that is not complete yet. So what we're looking for is when you're filling out your application, you're going to tell us when your next expected date of graduation will be. And then we would assign what we would call a transcript condition or checklist item. And that would need to be fulfilled before we would matriculate you or make you active in your programs. So usually if you're applying for fall, we would set the deadline for transcripts or other conditions to be about 6 weeks ahead of the start of term. So you'd be looking at about July. So we would say July 15th of 2021 to fulfill all conditions for September start date of that same year. And it would be similar for any other terms.
Yeah, for the University of Alberta, we understand that you might be finishing up a program. So if you come to the end of your program, you don't have your final documents yet, even just a letter from your university confirming when they are expecting you to graduate would be great to include with your application. But official documents like your degree certificate, final transcript, we don't need to see that until partway through your first semester, like the official documents. So as long as we know that it's going to be coming and we have confirmation that it will be coming, then that's okay.
Thank you. And we have another question. I'm very glad to see that we have so many questions. Thank you, guys. From Luis David to the University of Alberta. For the master thesis based, how should the approach to the supervisors, professors be? Can we ask help from Audacia or Caldo to help us with this? Or just by contact them ourselves is fine? What do we need to send them? Thank you.
Yeah, so if you are planning to apply for a scholarship from Mexico, feel free to contact me directly because I'm a big part of that process for sponsored students. If not, like, yes, feel free to contact Caldo. They can give you some tips and advice. But in my experience, when contacting a professor, include, you know, your documents like your CV, your transcripts, your statement of research intent, English test score. Usually, you know, sometimes I hear from a lot of students, but I never get a response from professors. I never hear back. Sometimes, you know, it might just be that a professor's busy. I usually give them 2 weeks before sending them a little reminder. If you still don't hear anything back, it might just be, you know, they're just busy, or they maybe aren't interested, or they don't know what type of space they will have in their lab by the time you want to start. So there's a variety of reasons. If you don't hear from your first choice professor, you can move on to your second choice, and so on. So yeah, feel free to email professors directly. You can suggest, you know, some days and times, maybe if they want to have like a video chat, just to kind of discuss it further, so they can get a better idea of what you want to do in their research.
Thank you, Nicole. I also think that Caldo will be a very good option, as they are very interrelated with many research professors. In Audacia, we have not this direct contact with researchers. So in this case, that will be best with Nicole or through Caldo. Okay. Abad is asking another question. Am I eligible for master in music if I have an aeronautics degree and no previous formal studies in music? I have 24 songs on Spotify, if that helps.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna suggest that Abad maybe just contact me directly, because I'll have to contact music and see what their policies are and how their admissions process works. So I can look into that, and then Abad, if you email me, then I can respond back with the information I find.
Great, thank you, Nicole. Well, as you think of any other question, I would like to invite you all to next webinar. Next Thursday, we'll have New Zealand. Here it's going to be also very interesting, and some of our next webinars, we're going to have the University of Sheffield, la Universidad de Navarra, Orange Tulip Scholarships para Países Bajos y la Universidad Politécnica de Cataluña. Entonces les pido que estén pues muy pendientes de pues estos webinars, pues sobre todo para tener todas estas opciones abiertas. Lili, en lo que tenemos otras preguntas, no sé si quieras agregar algo.
Gracias, Eri. Pues más que nada agradecer a los jóvenes que se han conectado, han hecho muy buenas preguntas. Thank you very much, Nicole and Julie. Your information is very, very important for us and Jóvenes de Excelencia. Gracias. Si alguien tiene alguna otra pregunta, estamos en el chat, todavía tenemos unos minutitos, me imagino. Y como bien dice Eri, los seguimos invitando a que sean parte de cada uno de estos webinars todos los jueves en el Zoom de Jóvenes de Excelencia y Audacia. Gracias, Eri.
Gracias, Lili. Julie, they're asking for your contact in the chat. I don't know if you can write them so all the participants can have your contacts. And Nicole, it will be great also if you can share your contact through the chat, as many participants join a little later. Well, again, Nicole and Julie, thank you very, very much for your time, for sharing all this information. We look forward to end up with this COVID pandemic and well, restart again this communication, this presential fairs, and we'll see you next time in live, not in the screen.
Thank you so much, Erica. Thanks everyone for coming.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thanks again, and see you next Thursday, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.